Hello and welcome to the Pandaverse. I'm Elgon Williams. I'm here with Christine Gabriel.
Guys.
Today we have special guest Laura Kemp. Laura's got a new book coming out on Wednesday. Here's a little secret: you can actually order the print book now. Okay, it's been available since last Wednesday. Kindle book launches on Wednesday, so everyone that has a Kindle has been waiting for it. This is the sequel to her debut novel, which was Evening in the Yellow Wood, which is one of our best-selling books ever.
Yay!
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 And I've got to tell you, there's a good reason to look forward to this book, because this book's got a lot going on in it.
A lot going on. That's
A
true.
lot going on. So you're going to do a reading for us today?
I am.
All
I'm
right.
going to. Want me to go right into it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. See, now if I put my glasses on, I'm shiny. But if I look down, I think I'll be okay. This is the prologue of Snow and Summer. I had a prologue in Evening in the Yellow Wood too. I seem to have a thing for prologues, so I thought I would just read from that. Amanda Bennett stood looking out over where the Great Lakes met the morning sky. The clouds seemed to mix like a charcoal drawing as the sun began to breach the horizon. A seagull hovered at eye level, and she found herself gazing past it and then down at the asphalt ribbon that encircled Mackinac Island. The world was just beginning to awaken with the sound of voices below. And that was fine, because what she wanted to do did not require secrecy or stealth or privacy even. She knew what was expected of her. It was not a matter of who was wrong or right, but what she couldn't do anymore, and who she couldn't live without. A split rail fence surrounded this outcropping of limestone, known locally as Robinson's Folly. Legend said that an Ojibwa maiden had jumped to her death from here. She had loved a white fur trapper named Robinson, and her father, the chief, would not allow them to marry. Or maybe the trapper had jumped. Amanda couldn't remember. Laughter floated up from below. She turned from the hovering gull and saw a tandem bite flash silver in the rising sun. A man and a woman, lovers perhaps, their voices light and airy as the wind caught hold and lifted them to her perch. There was talk of a party later that night at Horn's Bar and a restaurant that served pancakes all day. Up it came and vanished. Amanda took a breath, looked to where the gull had been a moment before, but it was gone, having joined a group of birds streaking over the southern sky towards Round Island, its lighthouse as bright as a piece of peppermint candy. Amanda thought of the birds and wished for their wings, to go anywhere and nowhere. She gripped the split rail fence meant to keep tourists from the same fate as Robinson and his Ojibwa maiden, and threw one leg over and then the other until she stood with her back against the barrier, her fingers gripping wood that was slippery with morning dew. Amanda Bennett breathed in the morning air and leaned forward into the lightning sky until her body hovered over nothing and let go.
Ooh.
Really nice.
Fun reading that. I should do that more often.
I really enjoyed reading this book, and it compelled me to go back and read the first book. It had been so long. I'd actually forgotten a lot of the original.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it helped a lot. So I recommend everybody read the first book, even if you've read it before reading this one.
Yeah, because so much happens, it's easy to
Yeah, there's a lot going on in both books. There's a lot of
can't
characters.
skim.
There's a lot
Can't
of characters' names.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people get confused. I've had people say, I'm so confused. And I'm like, I know. Sorry. It's just, just have to keep track, have to eat your Wheaties, right? And before you read the book.
It's a really good book. I shouldn't talk about complicated books because mine are beyond complicated. They're like convoluted.
Oh, I think I heard that word associated with mine once too. The convoluted club, I guess.
It goes with magical realism, though.
I know
It does. It does.
You know, it does. It's like it's weird because it's weird. All the stuff that
Yeah,
happens.
and weird is great.
I know it is. Sure. My favorite stories were Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz.
Oh
Growing
yeah.
up, I love that normal girl cast into a, abnormal world type stuff. So.
But the Wizard of Oz has like a plot flaw right in the beginning of it. It's just
What's that?
Well, you know what? If Glenda the Good is so good, why did she put Dorothy through all this? Because
Oh,
she knew
don't
all
she
she had to
tells
do
you
was
at
click
the
her
end?
heels. All
Doesn't
she had to do
she?
was click her
It's a
heels.
life lesson, man. She gotta
Yeah,
learn.
she does, and she has to realize that, what is it, the value of her home. She didn't
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
everything for granted before she had to go through that.
I was totally enthralled with that. With that, I watched the movie every time it was on TV because I used to put it on TV around Christmas time back when I was growing up. And I was madly in love with Judy Garland, of course.
Oh, she's a
Oh yeah.
beautiful lady with a
Yes.
beautiful voice.
I had to watch it every time it was on TV.
Hmm. I remember watching it
All the time.
And I
every
was
year.
about 7 or 8 years old when I pointed out that plot defect in the,
Uh-huh.
and my mom goes, "I never noticed that." I was
She's
like,
she's Glinda the. She's not
Glenda
the
the Good,
Glinda
Glenda the
the
Good Witch of the North.
difficult teacher. She's that hard teacher you have in high school that makes you do all that
And you
legwork.
appreciate her way down
Yeah.
life.
I had an English teacher like that. The one who told me I was mispronouncing my name.
Oh, told you were mispronouncing your own name.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that started a whole thing. Then it was like,
You tell you it should be Elgon.
no, she used to call me Eljon.
Elgon.
Elshon. Elshon.
I was like, I thought about it. I was like, do I like that or not? I mean, it's a variation of it. Nah, I don't like it.
Maybe I'll just say it's Elshon. I'll trade names.
So Laura, tell us about your inspiration for your book. Tell us, you use Mackinac Island and you love to go there. Tell us a little bit about it.
The inspiration for Snow and Summer, yeah. I wanted to set some of it on Mackinac Island, partially because the bookstore there has been so wonderful. They had a book signing for me last year. I got to sign with Lori Rader Day was the other author out there, so I got to kind of hang out with her, which was a lot of fun. And I kind of told them that I would put something about Mackinac Island in the book.
Promises were made.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of planning on it anyway, but it's my favorite. You guys have both been there, so
Yeah.
I think you either love it or you don't. I don't know if there's an in-between with Mackinac. I'm one of those people who loves it, but
It's
a different place.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
went for
different-
a ride.
yeah.
Like it was wonderful.
So you're one of the
There are
people.
no cars allowed on the island.
No cars,
No
only
cars.
horses and bikes.
Yeah.
And if you don't like crowds, like the downtown Mackinac Island during the summer is just,
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
you can't socially distance. You just
No.
can't. But we always stay for several days. So the last ferry leaves and it's a totally different place. It's really mellow. It's little, restaurants open and bars open all night. And you can, like my husband and I just went in October and we just got this, I called a burr in our saddle. That's my favorite idiom, to jump on our bikes and just ride up to the Grand Hotel. And it was close to midnight. That's a really big hill.
It's a
So we
really
got-
big
Yeah, Christine and I both did that.
Did you go down it?
we
Yeah.
went up it and down it. Yes.
So fun. We did this in the pitch black, though, my husband. There's a full moon, but we just fast as we could and then went down to our hotel and zipped past down to the other end of the island and then came back, and it's just fun stuff you can do.
Going down it on a bike is almost worth going up it on a bike.
Oh yeah, it's terrible going up. Yeah, you have to. My husband says you can make it. Just ride your bike up that hill, and I'm like,
Oh man, I almost made it to the top of the hill, and then
You
finally I had to get off. Like, I can't do it.
I don't even try. I just give up. I give up halfway. I don't even try. I give it.
That was so funny. I made it almost all the way to the top.
You did. This is me back
And
then.
then- But I rode. At the time I was riding a bike every day to work, so I was like,
Okay.
I was like
So
riding
you
9
did that.
miles a day. So
Yeah.
my legs were in pretty good shape. But
Oh, never mind.
that hill was a challenge even for me with all the exercise I did, riding bike. But
Yeah. And
I
there's
turned,
another.
I turned around and there's Christine halfway up the hill, and she's she's really struggling, and then she gets off her bike and kind of walks it.
Yeah, well, it's a very hilly island. I mean, if you go anywhere in the middle, you're going to hit a hill.
Yeah.
It's just, I tell people who want to bike the island, if you want a flat and you don't want any hills, just go around the outside.
Yeah.
I said, you go anywhere on the inside, you're going to be going uphill at least part of the time, and it's hard work.
It's
really
like
hard.
it's like immediate. As soon as you turn up any street from the loop
I
that
know.
goes around the island, you're up a hill.
I know. It's
Kids are passing me. Like, people are passing me, and I'm just like,
I know. I know.
We went on the what did it cost? Like $10 to go on the tour in the hotel.
I haven't been on that in so
It was
long.
something like that, but
I think so. The horse-drawn carriage.
we paid for it. They gave us the map, in case we got lost, and we were on our own.
Oh, you drove your own carriage.
No, we did our own tour of the hotel.
Oh, the Grand
so
Hotel.
So we rode up in the elevator and
I didn't know
went
that.
all the way to the top cupola or whatever it was,
Uh-huh.
which has an amazing view up there, by the way.
I bet. I've never been up there. I don't
That
do a lot.
that
of
hotel is
a
like,
bar up there.
yeah, we heard the hotel, the rooms were like $1,100 a night.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't know if that's every
And
room in the
they're
hotel, but
small.
they have a buffet, down
That's what I've heard. Yeah. I
down
have
in the and they have like little finger sandwiches. So
Yeah.
We did.
if the size of the sandwich is this big, the place is really expensive.
Yeah, really, the smaller the food portions are,
Smaller
the
the
more
food.
you have to pay for it, right?
Exactly.
I just love the Grand Hotel because Somewhere in Time was filmed there. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
would
Oh,
always
it's
Yeah,
beautiful
up the
inside.
back way. There's a back way you can sneak on the porch, so you don't have to pay that $10 to $15, whatever it is, to get in.
Wow.
So I hope no Mackinac Island Grand Hotel officials are watching, but yes, I have. No, I don't think I've ever paid to go in there. So
Kidding.
Well,
there's
you
a
have
couple
a
ways you can get in. Sorry.
you have some scenes that are set in the stables
Yeah,
that
there's tables.
are on the far side of the hotel. I've
Ah.
never been there, so I don't
For
know.
one of the
I mean,
characters.
they've got to take care of the horses somewhere, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful homes up there and a lot of stables, and then a lot of the Grand Hotel horses are kept up there. So, and I'd always loved going back there to see the horses. So I said, we'll put a hunky guy up there above the stables. Why not? So
Yeah. Yeah.
put him up stable.
Kind of a cowboy thing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that.
He's a
Nothing
horse
wrong.
he's a horse trainer.
Yeah. So then I took a bunch of pictures when I was there because I do that whenever I'm up north. I always take pictures of the real life places because my campers and everybody really likes to see the real places that this stuff took place in. So I always try to snap a few pictures while I'm up there.
Now is that big area with the stone that is
Oh,
does that actually exist on the island?
they're not on the island, no, but there is a petroglyph
Oh,
down
okay.
by, I think it's in the Thumb area. And I
Oh,
just kind of combined that with my friend has this clearing behind her house. We were just up north yesterday and we came across another clearing just like this. So it has reindeer moss that grows on top of it and it looks like snow. When it's dried out, it kind of gets really white. And then when it rains, it absorbs all the moisture and is really soft. But it looked like I came onto this clearing and it looked like it was covered in snow. And I thought, I just sort of filed it away. And I thought, wouldn't that be neat to combine that with the petroglyphs that I had known they were preserved down by the Bad Axe, I think is where it's close to in the Thumb area. But I mean, I think there are petroglyphs in that area. I'm just not sure, if they're marked or if anybody really knows where they are. But they were common up there.
one of the ways that Michiganders know that somebody's not from that area is that they try to pronounce Mackinac.
Mackinac, yep.
Yeah. My mother does that, though. Isn't that crazy? She calls it Mackinac.
Well, it's got a C in it.
Oh, I know.
How can the C be silent?
I know. It's like Elgin, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And Michilimackinac, even the fort is pronounced the same way, and it has a C. So yeah, it's always Mackinac, however it's spelled. It's not Mackinac.
Now,
But yeah.
with your first book, Evening in Yellowwood, that is a picture you took, right, for the front cover?
Huh?
Did you take this picture for the second book? Or
I did not. I did have a picture that I wanted to submit, but Don, our graphic designer, said that it was too white, so it wouldn't show up as well. So he picked, it was a picture that he came up with. I think he may have, I don't know if he took the picture or it was just a picture that he had. So he,
Right.
I definitely wanted the white moss
yeah,
on there.
I love that. I love it.
Thank
looks,
you.
It looks
beautiful.
great.
Thank you, because people kind of like, what is that? What
No,
is
I knew exactly
that?
what it was.
And that's what you want on a book cover. You want people to say, what is that?
I don't know if you can see it because it's shiny, just like my glasses. But
I think it looks great.
thanks. Yeah, I was pleased. I think he was right. I think the picture that I personally took behind my friend's house, it probably would have been not enough contrast. So, but I do like to take pictures, and I do appreciate that my leaf was able to make it onto
That's a beautiful cover. That was a beautiful cover.
It stands out.
Yeah, you took a great
big
picture.
yellow leaf. I have to say, this is the big white cloudy substance that you're not going to know until it gets really close that it's moss.
So you've got Woody as your first book. That's your nickname for the book. You personify your book title.
I do. I create this whole.
So you've got Woody, and are you calling this one Snow or are you calling it Sis?
I'm calling it Sis because it's Woody's little sister.
Oh, yeah.
Woody's a girl, by the way. Woodweena is what I say. Her full name is. So little sis is been born. So, and of course, I'll play that up. You know, my little sis is born, and yeah.
Are you doing another video that we can share? I remember when you did your book baby, remember?
Oh, sure.
That was so fantastic.
When I get my box of books that I've ordered, I'll video it.
Yeah.
Like opening it again. Yeah, for sure, and send that to you.
That's awesome.
Whenever those come. Yeah, thanks.
So there's a book 3 coming.
Yes.
At some point.
Yeah. At some point. Yeah, I'm halfway done.
What's the title for that?
I am thinking Remember the Wind.
Ooh.
That's what I'm thinking. Then I have to figure out, okay, I love this title, but then I have to think, how does it fit into the story?
You'll figure it out.
I kind of figure out the titles, and then I figure out how they fit into the story later.
There's a lot of wind up that way.
Huh?
There's a lot of wind up that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like today, we could say today was a Remember the Wind.
It's still windy outside.
26-foot waves. We'll remember it.
Surfing.
I remember we were, when Christine and I went up there, we were on the ferry coming back from the island. And, you know, it had been a nice day. I mean, it was, God, it was like the third or fourth week of August that we were up there. So, I mean, it was summer. And it was chilly as you know, coming back, you know, on that ferry, I was shivering. I had a windbreaker on, but it wasn't enough.
No, it's not. Were you on top? Obviously, you were on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cold up there. Were you coming back at night, or
No,
at least
like,
the later part of the day?
It was like around 4 in the afternoon, 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's my husband and I actually took our boat up there this year. We got a boat, and he came over from Mackinac City to Mackinac Island in the boat, and it got rainy. I wasn't with him. My stepdaughter was with him, and they got kind of lost. Like, I was on the phone talking to him. He's like, wait a minute, I don't know. Got foggy, and he ended up like, he didn't even know where he was. He ended up going underneath the Mackinac Bridge and circling around and finding his way to the island eventually. But I was like, hope he finds his way over there. I got on the ferry.
That's quite a detour.
Yeah, I don't know. He went from St. Ignace. We like it from that side better because it's just calmer and it's not as far to the island from there. So he was in St. Ignace, and he ended up getting kind of turned around and got to the island. But we spent 2 days. It was so fun because the weather was perfect after that, because obviously you want to watch it
Yeah.
And our boat's 24 foot. It's not super big, so we want to watch the waves. But we spent the next 2 days just in the boat, going everywhere to all the little islands around, and we were swimming, and we went back to the Mackinac Bridge, and it was really fun. But the weather can change just like that. I mean, so fast, you have to really be on your toes out there. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun in our boat.
So for all the people who don't know what the book's about, okay, it's kind of it's a mystery. It's a murder mystery. It's got ghosts in it. It's got supernatural abilities, paranormal abilities.
It's got all the good stuff in it that makes it
It's,
great.
when I lived in Asia, used to go see Chinese movies, in the theater. And the good movies had ghosts in them. But the great movies had ghosts and kung fu.
Oh,
That's what people told me. Okay. So
there's definitely some fighting.
So maybe you should introduce some kung fu into your books too.
Okay.
But that's where I was going with that.
Just normal fighting. She needs to change into a kung fu fighter, huh? Okay. And I could put that on the soundtrack too, the song. That'll segue nicely.
Yeah, well, she could do some Indian fighting too.
Yeah, she could.
Yeah.
She could do. Those are my favorite actually scenes to write. I absolutely love writing the action scenes and her action scenes especially, because usually she's saving a boy, which I love, that twist on the damsel in distress.
It goes fast when you're writing it.
Uh-huh.
And it goes fast when you're reading it too, because you're really involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love writing those scenes.
It's excellent for pacing.
Yeah.
But sometimes those are the hardest scenes to write too, because I mean, it flows through you when you're first writing it, but then you go back and you read it, and then you go, you're a couple of days past writing, and you go, that doesn't make any sense. I need to have this in there. I need to, so you end up
definitely like a
tweaking that
ballet.
scene. Yeah, you end up tweaking the scene a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a battle scene in one of my books that I probably all told spent about 2 months of writing on that scene, just because there's so much stuff going on in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not sad. I'd probably go back and look at it now, and I would still want to tweak it. But
sometimes you have to leave it alone. That's so hard for me.
Sometimes you just have to walk away.
Like, let's just change one little,
and then when I change one little thing, I'm like, no, I gotta change something else.
I know. I could constantly fuss with it. I could still fuss with Evening in the Yellowwood. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll just write an entirely new version of it someday, just for myself.
No, don't. Don't even go down that rabbit hole.
I did find an old version of it that I wrote just for fun. I mean, like the first draft of this book, which was completely different. It was fun to read it because it was so different. But some parts were cool. Like some parts I'm like, oh, I wish I'd left that in there. But I kept it just because it's fun to see that very first draft.
I've got a copy of the first book that I ever wrote, or first manuscript. You can't really call it a book because it was never published. But I wrote it when I was in college. And when I wrote it, I thought, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm going to, send this away to a publisher right away and, get it out to the world. And everybody's going to love it. And they're going to. I was like 22 years old. What the hell did I know? and then, I was really proud of it. So I told somebody that I'd written a manuscript, and, oh yeah, let me read it. So they read it and they said, yeah, that's a good first draft. And I was like so offended.
It's a good start.
I was so offended by that because I thought I'd finish. I hadn't invested any time into it either, really.
Yeah.
It was all train of thought, and I wrote it and everything. And
so it was kind of a first draft.
But after they told me that, I went back and I started reading it, and I was like, this is horrible.
So they were actually being nice and diplomatic.
They were being nice. And of all the stuff that I wrote in that era, that's the only thing that I kept. I threw away everything else, but I kept that because anytime that I think that I'm a good writer, that I'm good enough to Be right. I go back and I read that. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I go back and I look at it and I go, okay, this is where I began, and I'm still not too far away from that, with my drafts.
Oh, first drafts are terrible, aren't they? Yeah.
But they're
Just
fun.
plow right through them.
Fun to go back and read.
Yeah, I know.
What was I thinking?
I know. Ooh, I know. I was looking at that first draft in the other book. I was like, ooh.
Or you get to the point where you go, or you get to the point where you go, who the hell wrote this?
I know, it's so different. The voice is different. Yeah, it's weird. So, but some parts of it are fabulous. But
Yeah.
it definitely wouldn't have. I don't think it would have been published. So, I was meant to write the draft that I did. It was all meant to be.
It's a good book.
It is.
It really is.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And a lot of other people agree with me, so
Thank you.
I must be right.
You must be right because everyone agrees.
Yeah, Snow and Summer. Highly recommend it. It's a
Read
really
the
good,
Woody first.
yeah, read Woody first. You could read Snow and Summer because you explain what went on a little bit in it, so you can actually read it without reading the first book, which if you've waited the year and a half, 2 years between the books and you haven't read the other books since then, and you jump right into Snow and Summer, that's going to be your experience anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always good to do a refresher.
So, I would recommend going back and reading the original, so you're up to date, and then you jump into it. Now, it takes place about a year after. Okay, it's the summer after everything that happened in the first book. So, expect a little bit of a time jump there, between the two books. But you really didn't. I mean, you explain what's been going on, for the past year, and everything's been nice. Everything's been happy. And then summer comes and all hell breaks loose again.
No, really. Summer's supposed to be the nice, relaxing, easy time. It's never been that way for poor Justine. She's going to hide in a hole every summer from here on out, isn't she? She's going to come back out in November.
And Dylan keeps trying to drag her back, and
I know. He doesn't want to go back there, but that they always end up back there, so whether they want to be or not.
Yeah. And there's a third book, so that they're going to have to get back at it again.
Yeah. This one's more of a cliffhanger. The first one was kind of tied up nicely. This one's a cliffhanger, so because I wasn't expecting the first one to be part of a series when I
there's an epilogue in this one that kind of explains where it's going. Yeah. It's interesting.
Thank goodness, huh?
It's interesting.
I had one of my readers.
Yeah, I I read the thing, and I get to the end and I go, no, it can't end here.
What?
It can't end here. And then I flip the page and okay, epilogue. Okay. Let's see where we're heading with this.
Yeah, that was my gift to the reader. I didn't want to be mean that way, so still kind of mean, but it's a little better, I think. Soften the blow.
There's people out there that've read it overnight, I'm sure, but you could spend a weekend reading it. It's a good pace for the weekend.
Especially everybody being stuck at home right now. Like, and get these books.
Oh God, I've read so many books.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually got some more restrictions in. I don't know if Ohio has, but Michigan.
Probably next week.
Yeah, so we're kind of hunkered down again.
I'm sure we're going to get some out here too. I mean,
like I don't even know if I'm going to work tomorrow because our school is virtual. It was just shut down last week to go back to full virtual from hybrid, but I still have to report, which is strange to me.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I don't know if I have to report tomorrow because they've basically told everybody above 8th grade to stay home.
I saw that.
So do I go in? I don't know. I don't really have a lot to do because there's no students, but I work on my book. I work on the 3rd book.
Yeah.
So, and I'm home. I'm away from the kids, and it's quiet. So, I may just go in no matter what.
You could just bang the new one right out.
Yeah. I can. Shut the door and off I go. So I don't know. It's easier sometimes at work than at home.
Yeah, you'll win. You could win NaNoWriMo in half a month.
I could. It'd be terrible though. Can you imagine that draft? Oh. Oh.
Well, you got to get it. You got to get something on paper.
Yeah, you do. You just have
Even
to
if it's virtual paper.
even if it's icky.
You got to get the story down. You can always go back and fix it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can't fix something that's not there.
Yep. Exactly.
All
Well,
right.
thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
enjoyed it. This was fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a big party on Wednesday, and I think I'm going to put a graphic up about people getting the print version and then segue into the party on Wednesday. So I hope you guys are there. And Christine, I see you on other takeovers. I think we're both doing, with Tanner Cage and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fun to see you out there. So I hope
you
to see you
too.
guys there.
Exciting week. Congratulations.
Thanks. And maybe I'll be, have lots of time to sit at home to just soak it in instead of trying to figure out how I would do it at school, trying to go to classes and then check in on the party. But I'm just kind of going to be home. So maybe it's good. I don't know.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, there we go. The pandemic worked out for me. in this instance, anyway.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. See you
Bye,
later.
guys.